So
It's a little
Celebrating being late, huh?
I was on time, Chief.
thank you for coming to these meetings. I know there's a lot of them, and especially budget time, so the least we can do is give you something to eat.
I have cheese to share too, just wanted you guys.
Oh.
Right after this meeting. Yeah. Pass them around.
The cheese sat
I put it in the fridge.
for a little too long.
Just some housekeeping items. As a reminder, these little devices that are green, those are what are recording, so if you can just try to not touch them, that's all. And Henry's doing a great job over there keeping the minutes. So with that, we will go ahead and get started. And next slide. So we always start with our mission statement, as everyone's becoming familiar with, but enhance the present and future quality of community life in Kaysville through the delivery of effective, efficient, and equitable services. It's all about we deliver services, as that's our mission in the city. We do that with the employees, and I think something that I always try to remember is that the mission that we have to deliver services to residents to enhance the quality of life is done with employees, and so it's not a mutually exclusive type of thing. It's we're all in the same boat together. And Marin has a little presentation. I'll turn the time over to her.
Yay, Marin.
Hi. Okay, I will be passing around 2 buckets. Please feel free to take 1 item from each bucket. The first holds a bunch of different types of M&Ms. Regular, mini, I'll do it, thank you. Regular, mini, peanut, they're all different, and everyone probably has a favorite, or has even found themselves in the mood for peanut butter with almond as their usual go-to. But at the end of the day, they're all M&Ms, and let's face it, they're all pretty darn tasty. Budgets and city government departments can feel a lot like that. We all have different priorities and focuses and expertise and perspectives. But at the end of the day, we are all M&Ms. Unique individuals on the same team with the same goal to enhance the quality of life in Kaysville.
Yes.
The second bucket holds fidget spinners, specifically gear fidget spinners. These gears represent all the Kaysville departments. We all have different roles, but we are all part of the same machine. It takes every single one of us in this room, mayor, council, Jason, department heads, plus every single employee to keep the system of Kaysville City moving. May we go into today's budget meeting respecting each other's opinions, keeping an open mind, and being strategic with our decisions while letting the city mission statement guide us. To my fellow department heads, thank you for all of your focus, collaboration, hard work, and wisdom to make this budget what it is. It was very clear how much you care about your employees and the city throughout our discussions. I'm very proud of the hard work we all put into the budget this far. And I'm excited for Mayor and Council to see what we have prepared. We welcome your feedback and your questions and hope that you feel the care and dedication that was put into this budget. I'm proud to be on a team with every single one of you, and even though I might be peanut butter, I'm still an M&M, like every one of you. Also, I figured if today gets too stressful for anyone, at least we can have a sweet treat and our own personal fidget.
Woo!
Very good.
Thank you so much, Marin. I got back. That's awesome. I just want to thank Marin. I've been, you're and Parker for the hard work they've done. I've been through so many budget processes over the years, and this year has been really cool. Not only has there been a ton of hard work by Marin and Parker, but they've been very creative with the approach, and I hope you'll see that today when we go through things. Tried really, really hard to look at the needs of the city, but also be very conscious and thoughtful, creative on how we can fund the needs that we have without blowing up, the budget or doing a major truth in taxation. As everyone knows, last year we had a 32% truth in taxation that was approved by the city, but because of some technicalities, new legislation at the state level, many cities throughout the state didn't get their truth in taxation, including Kaysville. So we kind of started in a hole this year. 32%, what was budgeted this year did not come in. And so that's kind of our starting point, just to fund what we've already, are paying for as a city. But again, I hope you'll see today that there's been a lot of thought and creativity in finding out how to fund things. We're not going to get there all at once, but we have a plan, and I'm excited that I think we can get where we need to be and take care of our mission statement. So next slide.
Oh, I'm getting one today.
So this is where we are today. If all goes well, we'll get through general fund today, personnel, things like that, and then our next budget work session wouldn't be until April 17th. That'd be Friday the 17th, getting everybody a break. And that's when we would be talking on April 17th about enterprise funds and things. And then, as typical, May we get through tentative budgets, and then we're looking at a budget hearing at the first council meeting of June. And then an adoption of the final for truth in taxation by August. So there is some new state legislation. We're mindful of that as well. It's tweaking some things about how we normally do things, but the timeline overall, I think, is going to stick to this. So next slide. Oh, any questions so far? Great. Next slide.
I do have a question. Are
Yes.
we going to get these slides, or do we already have
Oh. Are those getting printed?
Oh, you printed them digitally? Will someone send them to me
Yes.
after?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we can also email it out.
Okay, yeah.
For sure. Thanks, Mayor. Did this go completely around?
Yeah, you.
Okay, I'm the last person.
Yeah, you got to grab it before you move on.
Oh. But, is that it? I don't need to pass it to Anne Marie? You got yours?
Or you can just leave it right there.
Thank you.
And budget objectives, of course, we have kind of the three-legged stool: operations, employees, capital. It's all about investing and taking care of our residents. We do that by ensuring that we can meet our expected levels of service. We're training and recruiting, retaining the types of employees we need to provide those services, and of course stay ahead of the maintenance curve with our capital and infrastructure needs. Next slide. So in the past, we've kind of put personnel at the end, although personnel is the biggest chunk, the most important piece of the budget. Any city's budget you go and look at, you're going to see 70-80% of that general fund operating budget personnel. That's because cities are service organizations. They provide services. And so we thought we'd start out with personnel, get through the meat of the general fund, and then get into special revenue and other parts of the budget. So with that, next slide, personnel overview. All right, this is the staffing requests, 14. As you know, you've seen most of these positions before. This has sort of been the request that departments have made for new staff over the last many years. For a number of years, we didn't add any new staff, despite those requests, trying to, shore in the budget. Last year, we added 2 staff, as you all know, net increase. This year, we've got those needs. I think I'm going to draw your attention to a couple of things here. We are proposing at the top, you see a -1 there on utility billing supervisor. That was Holly's position. That was budgeted this year to be filled, but we're not filling it. We're going to hold on that. We found a way to manage without that position. The cash receiving clerk. So we have 2 cash receiving clerks up front at the front counter. For those of you that don't know that position, that's Kathy and Cheryl, just to be clear. We're eliminating one of those 2 positions. We've talked with them, and that decision's not yet made which of the 2, but we are eliminating one of those positions. And then, let's see, in terms of adding positions, we are looking at adding a deputy fire chief. That's been something that's been talked about for many years, long overdue. So this is where we get into what that costs. Fire department, again, $184,000 is what you're looking at total cost of the deputy fire chief. We're also looking, the fire department has an administrative assistant, Ariel, who many of you know, extremely qualified, capable young lady. And Ariel is currently working 30 hours a week. It's a benefited position. The only change we're looking at there is just bumping that from 30 to 40 hours. So it's $25,000 to get those extra 10 hours a week, but much needed. And again, it's already a benefited position, so we're not changing it to the typical full-time that you'd expect. Administration, okay, this is where we just talked about eliminating those 2 positions in administration. And then it's been a long-standing need to get some support in admin, especially for payroll and human resources, trying to fill positions, advertise, recruit, and especially on payroll. Right now we just have Brenda Pugmire that just basically runs payroll as a one-man show, and it's extremely hard for her to ever even just take a vacation because payroll's got to be done every 2 weeks like clockwork. And so having an extra person there that can backfill that, can help with that, would be extremely useful as well. It's been a need that Dean talked about for a long, long time, and we'd like to be able to fill that need by part of it is eliminating a couple of those positions, but then creating a new position that we think would be a better allocation of our resources. I will say that even though the proposal is for a full-time human resource specialist, what we would actually do there is go out and recruit for a part-time person. And if we can fill that need with a part-time person, then we'll do that. But in case we just don't get the kind of level of expertise and quality that we need in a part-time staff, we want to be able to go back and then recruit for a full-time if needed. But we're hopeful that we can fill that with a part-time position. So that's the staffing proposals. Any questions so far?
I do have one question. I remember a conversation where maybe someone from the front counter was going to help with payroll, sort of split those responsibilities. Is that not?
Good question. We find that the level of expertise needed to do HR and payroll is a little bit more than what we think we've got currently.
Okay.
All right, so overview of personnel. We've done a couple things, Marin has, and Parker, but in the past, when we've done our budget projections for personnel, we've always budgeted the cost for health insurance based on what everyone's eligible for. Everyone in the city is eligible for a family plan, and the majority do have family plans for health insurance, but some don't. And what we found is sometimes we're a little over, we're a little higher than we need to be in our projections, and so we try to refine that a little bit. And Marin and Parker kind of dove in there and tried to budget this year based on more of our actual costs for health insurance. So you'll see some refinement or some, quote unquote savings there. Next over the market study. So this is something that's always been a little bit of an enigma, I think, for a lot of people. When we say, where do we want to be within the market? What does market even mean? For the last number of years, our target has been within 5% of the average of the market. But again, what does market mean? And so we kind of got into this year, and we've defined market as Davis County primarily. There are some positions where you can't use Davis County. For example, power department. There's only one other power department in the county, Bountiful. So we have to look at Brigham City and others that have power departments outside of Davis to get a reasonable scale of comparators. But for the most part, that market study is just looking at Davis County. Where do we compare among our peers right here in our own footprint? Now, that's not to say that somebody couldn't take a job in Orem or St. George or Logan even. I mean, we've seen that happen. It happens all the time. But I feel like this is giving us a reasonable snapshot of where the market is. And it's not perfect, but I think at least it's more transparent. And so we've used our market. We're still within the 5% of average. That target has not changed this year. Although I would like over time to continue to work towards getting us closer to average, at least, and just to maintain the quality of employees that our residents expect and the service levels that they expect. And it's extremely costly and challenging when we lose people. There's a lot of anecdotes that I hear almost every month about the difficulty and challenge of replacing employees who we've lost, and we lose employees constantly. Just in the last couple of months, we've lost a number of employees in the water department, police, fire. It's a constant churn, and there's a cost to the city in that. Not just a dollar cost of having to go out, recruit, train, all that, but the cost of losing that institutional knowledge and the training is significant. And it takes more than one person sometimes to backfill those positions. And even with that, it's not enough because it just, again, you can't replace years of experience just with the next man up. And so that's one of the advantages I feel of trying to make sure that we're competitive in the market. And so all in all, as we look at the adjustments that would be needed to maintain our current target that we've had for the last few years of within 5% of average, you're looking at a market adjustment to salaries of about 2.65% on average. Next over, health insurance. So it's been mentioned, a lot of cities out there provide health insurance to their elected officials, and we looked at that, and that's correct. Just looking again, if we're looking at what does Davis County do, kind of treating our elected officials the same way we're proposing to treat our employees. What does the market say about elected officials? Starting this year, for example, we started adding the cost of living adjustment that employees get to council, because rather than waiting 5 years or more to look at council salaries, let's just continue to make sure that we're keeping up with other cities. And part of that, I think, is looking at health insurance. So we did a survey of 10 other cities in Davis County and found that 3 of those 10 cities that we got information back from do provide health insurance to their elected officials. And those are the larger cities: Clearfield, Bountiful, North Salt Lake. There might be others too, but of the 10 I heard from, North Salt Lake, Bountiful, and Clearfield, they provide health insurance to their elected officials. So we looked at the cost of that. It'd be about $141,000 a year, assuming every elected official took the family plan. So that's in this current proposed budget. Down in the bottom left corner there, assumptions. So every year we kind of try to gauge what personnel costs are going to do, and we put in some assumptions. One thing we've kind of talked about offline a little bit with some council members and the mayor is getting away from the idea of debating whether we do a merit or how much of a merit increase we do every year. The merit increase is how employees move through their range. So when they're hired at starting salary, employees are trying to gauge new employees, especially how long is it going to take until I top out, get to the max of my range. And every city that you'll see has pretty much a structured system of how they get employees, move them through their salary ranges from bottom to top. And I think the word merit has really confused a lot of people. Like, what does that mean? Like, if most employees are getting that, is that really a merit? And we kind of dug into the history of this, like, why did we call it a merit in the first place? And it's a little bit of semantics, I guess, but the expectation was always that employees would get that 3% every year. That doesn't mean that everyone gets it. We do manage employees. Some employees don't get it. Some employees get managed out of the city if we have performance problems, and that happens more often than you might realize. We keep that kind of confidential because it's personnel, but we are constantly doing performance improvement plans, managing employees, and making sure the performance is where it needs to be. A little bit of history too on the merit increase. So up until about 2017, the city had a step system, meaning you kind of got these rigid planned steps to move you through your salary range. And there was a chart that kind of showed step 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to the top. And on average, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody that knows, but I'm going off my memory now, but I think it was 5% on average that employees were getting as they moved through the range.
4.5.
4.5%, thank you. So 4.5%. And then in 2017, we switched over to what Shane called the merit system. And so that was a 3% annual merit increase that employees would get. And then if employees were kind of stellar, then they could get a 1.5% increase on top of that 3% merit. So in other words, you were still eligible for the 4.5% if you were a good employee. Somewhere around COVID, we eliminated that 1.5% bonus and went just to the 3% merit. And then, in the last couple of years, even the 3% merit has kind of been, again, a debated topic and kind of confusing on what it means. But what we like to do going forward in order to stay competitive with other cities and kind of ensure new recruits and current employees, like, how do I move through the range? We want them to feel that there's a plan that they can move through the range as long as they're performing. I mean, obviously, again, if there's performance issues, we manage those separately. But there would be a 3% annual step increase that employees would get as they are trained, as they learn, as they grow, become more valuable to the city. This is how we would retain them, by giving them that 3% step every year until they hit the top. And so it would, rather than a structured like this dollar amount of step 1, this dollar amount of step 2, etc., we would just say your step is 3%, and then you continue to get 3% until you hit the top of the range. Other cities do this as well. For example, Orem does a 3% step every year. It's not unusual to just go off a percentage rather than a set dollar amount. But I think this is also easier to manage as well. If somebody comes in, as a promotion, for example, comes in mid-range somewhere, they can start getting on that 3% system rather than having to kind of artificially put them onto a step. It's kind of tricky that way. But anyway, this again is an attempt to kind of just set the expectation and clarify what it is, and hopefully just set that as something we can not have to debate every year. This is part of our salary plan, our compensation plan, and that allows us to tell new recruits, this is our salary plan. We have a plan that gets you to the top, just like every other city does. So with that said, is there any question about retitling this to a step? I think that's a more accurate way to describe what it actually is and what it was intended to be.
I think it takes away the angst, so I think it provides a little bit more predictability. So I think it's a good idea.
It sure is nice for employees to know.
Yeah, and most other systems, like you said, use it. I know the government uses it, the state uses it. It's just a predictable system for people who are in public service.
That's a great point, Mayor. It is, a lot of people from the private sector go, wait a minute, you're getting 3% every year. And, it is just the way it's set up. As obviously most people know, if you work in the government sector, whether it's federal or local or what, you're probably making a lot less when you come in than you would in a private. But it's also set up that you can work your way up to a higher salary through that structured step system. And so that's again, when we look at how we are competitive, how we attract and retain a reasonably good workforce, that this is one of the ways that we think will help us, and it'll help us avoid some of those other costs, like I said, too, of losing good employees. We're never going to retain 100% of employees. That's not our plan, of course, but we want to do a reasonable job of being competitive, and this is one of those keys.
And can I just point out that that's in line with the adopted mission statement. The mission statement, I think, is fantastic. And the supplement that was adopted with the mission statement, the first two items in that, the goals, the how is the mission statement is accomplished. Number one is seek out and maintain a competent workforce that is courteous and sensitive to the needs of the community. And number two, properly train and equip city personnel to perform safe and productive service. And I think we've talked about it before. When the city is successful, when good things happen, when the community is taken care of, and the services are efficient and equitable, it's because all of us in this room are supporting the people at the front desks and in the patrol cars and in the engines and at parks and on water leaks and power outages. We're supporting them and giving them what they need to do their job. So I think that's good to point out that this is in line with what we've already established.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, spot on.
Jason, is anything on the slide up for conversation? Or are we specifically
All this
talking
is
about
up for
steps?
conversation, yeah. What we've done here, that's a great question, Councilmember Hunt. So what we've done as staff is try to take to our best, recommendations, what we think is going to put the city in a good spot. Taking all the feedback we've heard from, strategic planning meetings with council about what's valuable about our mission statement, what we're trying to do to guarantee we're taking care of our residents, and taking feedback from the department heads on what their needs are, and then making kind of the difficult decisions of, all right, here's what we think we should propose. But all of this is up for question, for discussion. Anything on this slide, or any slide really for that matter, is up for question. And I should have started out earlier. I talked in the beginning about a different approach that we're taking. So in the past, we kind of just threw everything at the council and said, here's the budget for this department, and kind of went through a lot of line items. What we try to hone in on here is just what's changing. What are the big significant things that you really need to pay attention to? Because every year, the large majority of our expenditures are just the same thing every single year. They're not changing. Now, yes, they're going up by inflation and things like that. But what we try to focus on here are what are the changes to the budget, and help drive the discussion towards those items so that you can really focus on what's probably most important. Of course, you'll get the full packet of the budget to review every line item and question, but for the purpose of these work sessions, we want to really focus the discussions on what's most important, what's changing, and highlight those items. We feel like that's more transparent, will be more productive in terms of how we discuss the budget. Any questions so far about anything other than?
Can I just add that I think in a year like this, when we're already struggling, I don't know that we need to add health insurance for council members. Like, I'm aware that I can just say no for myself, but I just think $141,000 when we've already got like a 32%, right, 32 deficit is a lot for me. Like, I would be a lot more comfortable moving it to a different year. Or, I mean, not doing it at all, but moving it to a different year.
And I think it's just been presented as this is what's happening, but yeah.
Well, I'm not trying to.
Most of us probably don't need it either.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there so that it could be up for consideration when we're moving forward.
Can I put something out there? I think that's what leadership should do. There's been previous years where department heads have talked about, like, hey, if it helps accomplish the overall mission to have department heads, avoid cost of living or merit increases, if it helps get what we need for the people doing the work, then let's do it. And I think Jason hit the nail on the head in a previous discussion with me of that is doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. And I think that's noble to recognize the difficulty. But as I think we've looked at this, I think some people could try and say, well, are you guys trying to pander to people? It's no, like there's value at each level of the organization, and things like benefit and things like pay are how you recognize that value and you retain that value. And an elected position to me is no different than, hey, we have value from the guy that is going to go out and fix the water leak, and we have value from experienced council people, for example, that hey, they've been around the block, and hey, does a potential benefit, hey, they might already have it and so they don't elect to take it, but does that benefit being there help incentivize other good people to come and participate in city council and acknowledge the contribution? We know that you guys aren't in it for getting rich. And I think as you can work and acknowledge that, I don't think it's a negative thing. That's my 2 cents.
Thanks, you guys. I did talk to other cities that do this, said, why do you do it? What have you seen as the pros and cons? And what I heard from those cities is it helps us, attract and retain good elected officials. It's hard, as you guys know, you were up late last night, and then first thing back to here, and you've got other responsibilities and jobs obviously to take care of. But what this has done for some cities is help them attract people that otherwise couldn't afford literally to take the time off, dedicate to running for council. So there's that to consider. I know there's a lot of affluent residents in Kaysville, but not everybody can afford that and to take that time off. So that is one consideration to think about. But anyway.
Can I,
oh,
just
yes.
real quick, yeah, I mean, I guess I've always wondered, when folks elect not to take health insurance or not to take a benefit, are there ever options in lieu of, I mean, I'm just looking at the fact that it's not, okay. Are you talking about employees?
Yeah, not
Oh,
for
okay.
employees.
Yeah,
I have in other places, and I'm on Eric's insurance, but we don't have a payment in lieu of.
We offer that for our employees.
yeah, I mean, I know that,
Salary,
you know,
but-
maybe in the grand scheme of things, maybe that ends up costing more because we are saving from the people that don't take advantage of the health insurance, even though we budget for it.
Right.
But that's, I look at this like, you just divide it by 6, right? Divide it by 6 and then divide it by 12, and it's $1,900 per person. So, I mean, if someone were to say to me like, oh yeah, you can take advantage of the health insurance, or you can get an extra $1,000 a month, which would be half of what the city's having to pay for your health insurance, then that would, to me, I mean, I would have an easy choice there, but obviously I have health insurance being offered through my work. So that's just something I think to ponder, I guess, maybe, or to think about, is this concept, because I think your concept is correct that we do want to get good people. Josh made a good point, like that, and I do feel like you get good people, you kind of get what you pay for in a lot of ways, and so a lot of public offices end up getting the people that have retired or, just don't, I mean, in our case, it's not what we're dealing with, but.
Yeah, those are great thoughts. And Marin has been researching this idea of, what would payment in lieu look like, and we've pulled in, they've pulled in our health insurance broker, GBS, to run numbers and give us advice. And so we are looking at that. Like you pointed out, Councilmember Adams, it's a little tricky because with our employees in particular, a lot of them aren't taking that insurance now. So if we start offering something, then we're out of the gate paying something we're not already paying, and we're not sure, like, what is it, what's that, right number to incentivize employees to maybe take their spouse's insurance or some other insurance that they might have available to them, and then save the city money. Because in the end goal, that would be the goal of it, to save the city money. If we could, get some employees off of our insurance, that would certainly be a big win. But I used that. I did this in one of my cities way back. We offered, I think it was $800 a year. Not a lot of money, but we kind of did a lot of surveying and research and thought that was the right number. And we ended up kind of breaking even. I think there was one person that decided to take the $800 and take their spouse's insurance, and then we ended up paying a whole bunch of other people that were already off the insurance. Now they were getting $800. So it's a little bit of a guessing game as to what that right number is.
I'm not necessarily suggesting at this point in time that you look at changing the whole employee structure, and I do feel like council compensation it's easy to say that's separate from from employees. And so my thought is that if there is some heartache about the idea of adding 141 to the budget, that could be an option if you are interested truly in offering a service. I don't know I don't know personally if Nate or Abby or Mike or, you know, I really don't know if somebody would actually take advantage of it. They might. You know, and we don't know how much. I don't know all of my council members' personal finances and how much they're currently paying for health insurance and what situation they're in. And so that benefit could very well help a lot of people. So I don't, you know, Abby, or Councilwoman Hunt, while I respect what you're saying there, I wouldn't want us to just dismiss it without actually giving Councilmember Jackson and others the opportunity to say, like, no, actually, I could really use health insurance. But if we want to save some money and not budget that much, we could do a poll amongst and say, like, hey, who would actually just take the in lieu of, and then all of a sudden it's 70 grand or it's much less. It's a thought, something to think about.
All right, great discussion. So kind of going back to, under assumptions, going to just calling it a step now, what it truly is and is intended. The COLA every year we look at. In the past, we've tried to, for most years in the past, we've kind of gone off of the Utah retirement system, URS's inflationary number, but we haven't followed that in some years when it's been especially high. We also look at other things, you know, like Social Security and inflation. What pretty much every city does COLA in some way or another. Some cities mix it in with their overall. Some cities do it every other year. Some cities just do it straight across the board COLA every year to keep up, rather than doing big leaps and bounds every other year. But this year, looking at what the inflationary numbers are, for example, I think URS is 2.6%, Social Security is 2.8%, is that right? Mm-hmm. So the 2.5% seems to be right about in line with maybe a little bit less even, but this is just a number that kind of keeps us competitive. So every city's adjusting their salary ranges pretty much every year, and this just helps us maintain that position in the market. So if our position right now is within 5% of average, if we're not adjusting for inflation, we're going to start slipping down. And so again, this just helps us maintain that level. It also ensures that employees that are kind of topped out of their range, they're not getting any other increase to their salary other than what might come through a COLA. So, and then another assumption that we've built into the proposed budget as it is right now is health insurance costs increasing 9.5%. We did get our rate renewal back from the U of U Health, and that came in at 9.5%. We asked our broker to go back and market our plan to other carriers, which they're doing right now, and we'll get renewed rates from other carriers as well as maybe be able to negotiate with U of U more now that we're looking at going to other carriers. We do this all the time to try to make sure we're getting the best rate possible. So we expect that we'll get that rate down a little bit, but right now it's proposed at 9.5%. That's the built-in assumption. And by the way, that is 9.5% is not terrible.
No.
I think the market trend right now we were told was what, we're in 10.5% or something?
I know, like, one of the tech schools, 11.5%.
Yeah.
And they were thinking that they were getting a pretty good deal.
So yeah, 10, 11% is kind of the trend right now industry-wide. So we're not shocked with the 9.5%, but we're also optimistic. Our claims, we marketed last year and actually got a little bit better rate from another carrier, but we opted to stay with U of U because we knew our claims were likely to go way down, and they have gone down over the last year. So that puts us in a better position to get even better renewals or better competitive rates from other carriers, we think. And so we'll see what those rates are, and if it's the right year to jump ship and go to PEHP or another carrier, we'll look at those. And our goal is to make sure we're getting obviously the best rate possible and with a good quality insurance program. Next one over there, retirement. So with URS, our employer contributions going down a little bit, 0.5%. That's because investments have performed well over the last year, so that's a positive thing.
Some cities went up 15%.
And then our retention plan, that's been brought up in the past. We're still doing some research on different ways that, I know, Councilmember Adams, I think you brought up one time, like, should we be looking at a way to do a retention plan? So we've been studying that, researching it, and we're continuing that. Not quite ready to present anything right now. So next slide. So that's general fund. Special revenue funds. All right, ramp fund. So the annual ramp revenue we're getting is $568,000. Some of the big ticket items that we're expecting, and Cole, actually I should probably just turn this over to you. Do you want to speak to it?
Sure. So the ramp board hasn't met officially yet. 3 members hopefully will be appointed at the next council meeting.
Yes.
So that we can meet. We plan to meet the second week of April. The ramp board basically takes all the applications that are submitted and reviews them and then recommends funding to the city council for approval in the budget. The $568,000 is what we've historically been receiving, and so that's what we project for expenditures. Already allocated by previous city councils is money down for the, I call it money down, but money allocated for the Kaysville Field House that we're partnering with the school district on. So that's already kind of taken off the top, and so what's left after that is basically $200,000 for the committee to appropriate or recommend to the city council. And so one of the major applications this year is for part of a skate park that you've all been aware of. And then the other one, what we call scholarships, but it's actually, you know, there might be outside entities. Mercy Housing typically applies for some after-school programming that the board has awarded to in previous years. So those scholarships are that kind of grant programming for kind of outside entities within Kaysville that fulfill the mission of RAMP, Recreation Arts Museum and Parks. And so that's kind of what the RAMP fund will look like this year. That $200,000 may not break exactly how we're assuming, but that's kind of the initial projection.
And for the skate park, that's just one time, right? That's not an ongoing commitment, or is it?
It's not an ongoing commitment, it's a one-time
Just a
fund.
one-time
So if they want, if the Parks Department wants to do additions, they would have to reapply next year for more funding. So that's what they've applied for
Okay.
this year. There's also money being applied for out of it for the skate parks. $150,000 doesn't get you very far in today's construction world. So, but that's kind of what RAMP looks like this year.
Question?
Yeah.
I don't see anything there for the A&M.
So that's part of the scholarship.
Okay.
So when we say a college scholarship, so like this year, there's been applications from Mercy Housing, from Creekside Elementary, from the Historic Preservation Commission, for LaConte Stewart stuff. And so all of that is, for the sake of slide, it's just lumped into that whole scholarship. Maybe scholarship isn't the right word to use, just should be other applications. But there are art components that have applied for this year.
So if there's something that includes the A&M, it'd be nice to show.
Yeah,
their meeting.
that's fair. Yeah.
Great. Actually, Cole, do you want to talk briefly about the cemetery?
Oh, it's
Funds as well?
perpetual care. It's just an ongoing out of our perpetual care fee. So with every burial or interment within the city, part of the fee, that there's a perpetual care fee that gets paid, which is kind of like it says in perpetuity. And so that money is held in reserve for, you know, ongoing perpetual care needs. And one of the needs coming up this year is our perimeter fence. We started this last year. Just due to elements, the grout in our mix that was used many years ago is disintegrating. So we have some brick columns that are starting to fall apart. And so that's just refurbishing the exterior fence, re-welding some of the panels, and then a mason to fix the caps and the brick columns that surround it. And that should be, this 30 should finish that refurbishment project.
When do you see that project finishing up, Cole?
The cemetery fence this year, this would finish it. So, and like I said, that perpetual care money is a restricted revenue, can only be used for perpetual care. We can't use it for like, new expansion or just for perpetual care needs of the cemetery, and so that's why it's an existing fence that we're just keeping up, so.
And I can't remember if you mentioned it, Cole, with the skate park, the 150,000 from RAMP, that's part of it. There's also other funding sources that'll contribute from park impact fees.
Yeah,
and
so we're asking for some for park impact fees, to use some of our park impact fee to,
We'll see that on the next slide.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, thanks, Maureen. Perfect. And then the road utility fund, Josh, probably better to speak to this. Really, it's just wrapping up 200 North. The increase there of 352,000 for operating. In the past, we've kind of pulled operating expenses out of general fund, but there's really no reason for that. We think if it's road expense, it should be coming out of road utilities. So that's why that's going up a little bit, just the shifting of where we're funding that from. And then just, we're not doing as much maintenance, just mostly, Josh, you want to speak to that? This is kind of a bandwidth thing. It's one thing to throw money at a project, but if you don't have the staff to, pull that off.
The 200 North project has become fairly labor intensive because of utility conflicts that we're seeing on almost a daily basis. So, as police and fire can attest, we're hitting them up just about every other day about, hey, we've got to shut this down, we've got to terminate this. And so, just from a staff perspective, trying to pull on another project in addition to 200 North, and then trying to prep for the potential for the Angel Street expansion. We've pushed off preventive maintenance costs this year.
When are they gonna start digging again?
On 200 North, we haven't really stopped.
Oh, okay.
We're still going, yeah.
It's not too
We just finished up the 8-inch water line. Started this week on the 16-inch water line.
Do you see anywhere where we can anticipate any more gas lines being hit?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you. Just
Yeah.
wanted to confirm that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, at least they're good to work with.
That much I can tell you is we'll continue to have utility bids, and most of those, to the contractor's credit, have been, like, hey, we hit a boulder while we were digging through, and that boulder shoved the gas line out of the way, or
They're not actually.
USIC didn't come out and mark the gas, and they dug right through it, things like that. So, yeah, that's the one thing we can guarantee is that it'll continue to be.
Like I said, at least they're good to work with.
But we're anticipating that project wrapping up in November, and at least substantially complete.
Dude, that has definitely been the gift that keeps on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it'll be nice to have out of the way.
It'd be nice for Cody not to send a road closure.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Seth has it on automatic, like, decline every time we send an email over. That makes.
I just cut and paste my thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Josh. And then we've got 16,000 plugged in for doing an updated transportation utility fee study. As everyone knows, that's a great source of revenue for us that we've been using for a number of years now. And
I think the biggest thing is, even aside from the potential of legislation that's discussed every year, our transportation utility fee was established in 2018, and so the prices of, or the rate of that is 2018 based, and we're now 100% to 400% increases in our costs. So just want to reanalyze that.
And it was good to see this year that the bill was passed on the TUF, and so it's good where we.
It only took
long
them
as we
8
can
years to
justify
approve
it.
that you could do it.
It's true.
Right. Hopefully that's done now and we can move on with any legislative issues, but at any rate, any other questions on these ones? So, next slide. Okay, RDA, and darn, Melinda slipped out. So really, we budget money every year out of RDA for potential expenditures. In this case, the CRA hopefully will be coming back, and that'll take some money to work with Zion's Public Finance and others to put that together. So we've got some money plugged in for now on that. Our fund balance is up to 1.2 million with RDA, and there are specific things that you can use that for and you can't. So, Jason.
I would actually
sorry.
like to see you offer that to small businesses for loans at a certain percent, at least maybe 500,000 of it, because that's what it's all about.
Loans to do what? Just resurface buildings, paint?
If has somebody that can come with a pro forma and wants to go
Like
on
we did
Main
a couple
Street or
years ago.
something, but they don't have the money to quite get going, that we can loan them the money at a lower interest rate to help them, because this will help enhance. And so if we do have a budget, which I don't see us using for anything this year, let's maybe offer that out and try to make some money back from it.
I do anticipate this is way high level, but I do anticipate that the hotel that comes in is probably going to approach us with some requests, would be my guess, for whatever it might be, tax or some type of assistance. I guess that's fairly standard for them to request of cities for the first little bit, but just kind of an FYI.
Jason, can you explain to me what the RDA expense is? That's how much we're planning on spending this
No,
year?
That's how much we have.
That's how much we have from the previous?
The fund balance.
No, that's 70K. That's
Oh,
up
the
there.
70K. That's just what we plugged in right now for potential expenditures for next year. We budget most years to spend some money out of RDA for potential consultants, like putting together the CRA. And a lot of years, most years maybe, we don't really spend it. But should we put the CRA back on, and which I'd like to do, then that's going to cost a little bit of money to get a consultant on board. And
But so where does the 70K come from? Is that
Out of
just
that-
coming from our general fund?
out of the fund balance, yeah, out of the RDA fund. Yeah, good question.
Wait,
We're-
the RDA fund, like,
No, there's some property tax specific for the RDA that we get. It's about
Oh,
130,000.
thanks, Marin.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
which RDA? Wait,
The current one we have.
Yeah, the current one
okay,
we
the
have.
current, the one that's over there.
Yeah, we get revenue every year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
and so we just budget 70,000 of expenses each year.
And that's restricted to what we can use it for.
I mean, we can actually use that for Melinda when she's working on it, right? You can actually pay Melinda a portion of some things when she's working on it, or can you not?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
I know there's, when we use it, there's a very specific list of things you can and can't, but I do know too, a lot of you been very involved with the Legislative Policy Committee and the League. There's a lot of discussion about TIF legislation and what you can and can't use that for and how it gets tracked and things like that. So that might continue to be on the radar. As for now, we've got a little bit of flexibility on how we use that money. And, sometimes things will pop up. A couple of years ago, we had an opportunity to try to acquire some land for parking downtown, and unfortunately, they didn't take us up on it. But it's nice that we have that money available when opportunities pop up, because sometimes out of nowhere, maybe, a developer needs something that's really a good investment for the city. And if it's a reasonable use of RDA funds, it's nice to have those available as well. But we'd love to explore the CRA again. I'd like to see, us continue to work towards that and maybe I don't know if any of you have been to Vernal in the last couple of years, but holy cow, they have turned that downtown into an amazing destination. They've done a lot of small business loans to help them do facade improvements, and they've used their TIF money for that. So I think there will be opportunities to continue to work on stuff like that and help our businesses. MBA fund, so this is where another area that Credit to Marin really got creative. So our municipal building authority is just how we pay for the bonds on the police station and the city hall. And as everyone knows, I think the bonds are going to be retired by 2031 for the police station, 2034 for city hall. Those are significant payments every year. But what we realized is we've got a fund balance in the MBA fund. And we're like, why do we carry a fund balance? That should be used to pay off the bonds. And so I think the reason why we've kept that in there is because in a year where general fund is especially tight, it might be nice to be able to pull money from that fund balance, which is exactly what we're doing right now. You know, we realize the general fund is very tight this year, and we're already in a hole with the truth and taxation last year. So we thought this is a great opportunity to pull from some of that MBA fund balance. And also we've got a fund balance in the public safety impact fee. And so that gosh, my eyes are so bad, 353 is a very reasonable and typical use for that impact fee to pay off those police station bonds. So that's what we're proposing to do. And because we're able to do that, pull from some of those fund balances and use some of those impact fees, we're able to lower our general fund transfer by quite a bit. And so,
So did I hear you right? You said that we could use that MPA fund from public safety to pay off the bond on the post or police station?
the impact fee?
No,
Pay towards it or pay it off?
the public safety impact fee, the impact fee study specifically talks about the police station
Right.
bond.
Yeah.
So any of the public safety impact fees can be paid
Towards that? It
towards
doesn't pay it
this
off, though?
police. There's not enough to pay it off right now.
Okay, but a chunk of it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yep.
Jason, can you
Good
remember what
question.
MBA stands for?
Municipal Building Authority. It's just the fund that we use to pay off the bonds on the buildings,
Just the account that holds it.
specifically this building and police right now.
Okay.
So, yeah, good question. MBA stands for Masters of Business Administration.
Oh, graduate degree.
All right,
So
we're
then the
paying
money
for
that-
degrees
that
out of
we're-
public safety.
Take from the general
A lot of
fund,
degrees.
put it back into the general fund, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so we
Okay.
don't, yeah, typically we budget a big transfer from general fund, but
Right,
now,
but now we won't have to.
Mhm.
Okay, great, brilliant.
thanks.
All right, debt service on the
She's
end there.
pretty smart.
Oh,
Right, Sharp.
if I'm missing anybody's hands or not, I was like
Sorry,
just
we're not even raising.
wave, because everyone's blurry. I think I'm gonna get my eyes fixed, like in a couple months.
Oh, it's life
Let's tell them.
It is life changing, it is life changing.
I've got a complicated situation.
Oh, it is life changing.
I was born with something that they have yet to cure, so hopefully. So debt service on the end there. So use of fund balance, same concept there. We're able to use some of we got a fund balance we've been carrying in our debt service fund. Why have a fund balance? Like, let's put that to work.
Yeah.
So again, we're able to lower some of our transfers from the general fund as a result of using some of that fund balance. Anything else you'd add, Marin, to any of those
No,
points?
that's only about half of the fund balance, so, I mean,
Yeah, that's
So,
great,
yeah.
so it's not depleting it.
it's not depleting it.
We're
There's
not,
really no rhyme or reason to have it anyways, but, so we could use it all if you guys want, but we just started with half.
I kind of like using a little bit this year, maybe a little bit in the future, just because it eases us into, if we lower the general fund transfer all in one thing this year, it's going to be a little more painful next year, potentially the way I see it. So maybe we can ease into it, lower it a little bit this year because it's a big year with what we're already looking at with truth and taxation. But yeah, Marin's absolutely right. Like, we could use, it's all there for us to use. And Thanks. All right, so capital projects fund. The top one there is the long-discussed Operations Center. Most of the Operations Center is going to be paid for out of the enterprise fund because it's power, it's water, utility fees that would pay for that. But there's a little bit that does get used by parks and some of the general fund departments. And so this represents some of that cost. There's really two ways we can look at Operations Center. We'd like to pull the trigger and just start working on that. It's only going to get more expensive. We found a much more cost-effective way to handle the needs right now than what was proposed a couple of years ago when we were looking at close to $40 million project. But the 966,000, that represents if we go ahead and pull the trigger on doing the whole thing, which entails the Operations Center expansion. Also, we've got asphalt that's 30 years old now that needs to be replaced. And the one that's the most important, and I should probably turn this over to Cole and Marin to talk about, but it's that fuel island. You might recall we were approached by the state last year that we have no choice but to bring that fuel island up to code or up to state regulations, standards. And so we have to do that. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we have to do, the deadline's technically July of this year, but we understand that there's a lag.
They'll give us a 6-month extension. So otherwise, if we don't do anything, they'll cut off, they'll red tag our fuel. And so our fuel won't be able to be delivered to the Operations Center. So effectively, we'll be cut off from all fuel access at the op center because of our.
So everybody would come to the fire station.
Yeah, fire station just got
We'll get real busy.
Apparently not.
Going to the fire station?
Yeah, one of the fire stations isn't quite as big, so we have
You
to
have to get it filled more often.
have a refueling truck there. And it's just not convenient to travel, food loaders and track those.
Yeah, generally, some parks and mainly us and police.
So the fuel line distribution component, that's the one that we have to
You
do
should buy, just like the government.
one way or the
should buy
other.
bulk.
Otherwise, we get red tagged by the state DEQ.
Medicare, so.
It basically boils down to our pipe. The pipe is underground and has no product protection. And because it has no product protection, there's no workaround other than replacing it. So
Is there issue with it safety or environmental? Like,
environmental, the gas leaking.
I mean, not that it matters, I'm just curious.
Gas leaking in the ground, it can't be, and the pipes are, 30, 35 years old. And so the tank itself is getting water in the outer shell. So,
Can we reuse that tank?
but the main driver is the underground fuel line. So,
I think we'll get into the Operations Center probably a little bit more, right, Marin, Nicole, next time, because we'll be talking about enterprise fund, and that's where the bulk of that's going to come out of. But we did want to highlight that some of that is going to be coming out of general funds. So,
No, capital project.
or sorry, thank you, capital projects.
So Jason, what does the or mean?
It just means, okay, so we can either do the Operations Center, the whole thing, which includes the fuel island, or we can just do the fuel island only, but we have to do at least the fuel island because of what we were just, Cole was just describing.
I'm sure if it were like when
Yeah,
in
good
college.
question. Like, I'll choose the 60, that's definitely better. No.
So 966 or 60,000.
Right.
That's our choice.
Either, well, right.
Got it.
Although, keep in mind that the 966 is just going to go up and up and up every year if we don't tackle that Operations Center, so
Okay.
that's,
you have a long-term view when you're looking at
Yeah.
the first one. Like just an example, our asphalt out there, Josh is the asphalt expert, but it's
Crumble.
30 with no treatments on it. So it's just, granted, it's at the op center and, it's not public, but we have a lot of.
Yeah. But it's wear and tear on
So-
trucks and tires and people, right?
and Cole, do you want to talk about those other two, West Davis corridor and the other improvements?
Sure, the West Davis corridor is the money that we're getting from UDOT for the West Davis, it says West Davis corridor trail. Currently have an RFQ out right now, this weekend, this month, to select a landscape architect to work with us on coming up some designs. So that's 630,000. Once we have a plan in place, we submit that to UDOT for approval. They'll give us a first tranche of 315,000 that we can then use to start. Then the remaining 315,000 from UDOT is a reimbursement, meaning we spend it and UDOT reimburses us. So on that project, we're only spending the 630,000, which is what UDOT has awarded us for that. So, and that project has to be completed by September of 2027. And so, once we get an architect on board, we'll come with some concept ideas, some spot improvements that we can do, whether it's at trailheads, intersection, or the on-off ramps, some wayfinding signage, things like that. So it's yet to be determined what that actually will look like. But that's what that is. And then the improvements, that's some park impact fee, skate park, add another 200,000 to what we're asking out of ramp, just to give the skate park a little more sustenance, make it a little bit bigger, and then quail crossing is just to continue to improve. It's an HOA park that we inherited, and so everything in that park is from the HOA, so some of it doesn't meet kind of what we do as our standards, so that's just a making a stab at just doing some small improvements to that park. With that park, and with 950 North and Sunset, we do have that currently with Blue Line Design for master planning, streetscape, and overall park improvements down the road. Just the trash receptacles are just throughout our parks, removing our old wooden ones and going with the new ones that we're putting in that have branded Kaysville City branding and things like that. So trash receptacles are expensive.
Yeah.
That's why we were just going 50 grand, holy cow.
I wish.
I thought we were expensive.
We're just talking about trash cans. Trash receptacles are trash
Yeah,
cans.
they're the ones that hold the rubber liners in it.
Yeah.
We have to put those in because the rubber ones just roll all over, so. That also includes maybe some park benches that we're upgrading as well too, so.
So I need good job.
Do we want to take a break or keep going?
Yeah, we got 10:13, so how's everyone? Keep going?
Yes, please.
All right,
Yeah,
Push
great.
through.
energy up, man. Let's
I
get
mean,
live.
this is good information,
Wait,
and I like
Energy
the
up.
approach.
he wants a monster.
Okay, I'll just get you a
What
white
did he
monster.
just say?
Let's take
Said he's been quiet
2 minute
on
break.
purpose.
He looks
minutes.
like he's completely,
I've got, wait, I thought we
Zipped.
were taking over.
he looks like he's a
He does.
too much caffeine
He's
already.
done.
Dude, you look like, it's like, all right, let's go to council meeting.
I mean, he's a little scary. I might need a downer, I
Definitely need a downer.
don't know.
Mike loves hugs. Mike loves hugs.
You know those pictures that they posted of us up front? Mike's like this the whole time.
Yep,
Like literally
that's
standing
correct.
like this, arms glued to his sides, so he doesn't make contact with any living
Do
soul.
not touch me, no.
Nope, he does not.
He is so funny. This is actually really good, and I wish you would have just started with Bluff.
With what?
We call Bluff.
Bottom line up front,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not reading a 3-8-page email. Give me
No,
2
but I know
sentences.
this is gonna be good news, that's why I'm excited to get to it. But I think I'm the only one that knows that, so.
This,
This is good news.
Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get back to business.
Oh, please.
Okay, this is what maybe we should have started with. This is the bottom line up front, but not up front.
Bottom line.
Up middle.
Bottom line, get it.
Bottom line at the end.
Bottom line at the
in the
end.
middle.
How's that? All right. So total gap, we started here with a $3.5 million gap, and actually it was worse before we
Yeah.
cut a lot of things out of the budget. But so as we've talked about, the $1,795,000, that was the truth and taxation amount that we should have brought in to the city this current year. As we talked about, it didn't happen. So we kind of started out in that $1.7 million hole to begin with, just to fund current ongoing expenditures. That includes everything from just inflationary costs of what we've already got going on in the city, plus the new sergeant position and the deputy city attorney that we added, and of course the cost for the gymnasium. So on top of that $1.7 million hole, we had an additional deficit of $1.7 million from other, just, like we said, there's continuing inflationary costs, new requests, all those sorts of things. So this is where we got creative, and this is kind of just the tip of the iceberg. There was so much work done by Marin and Parker to kind of figure things out and look at every line item of the budget, find ways to fund things. But we were able to reduce that gap by taking some fund balance out of a few of those funds like we talked about. MBA fund balance was there, debt service fund. Then we're also proposing that we take out $1 million out of our general fund reserves. That's what we had proposed last year as well, as $1 million out. And so we're proposing that as a baseline. We take $1 million out, and as a baseline we start at looking at the 32%, getting that back what we should have gotten. And on top of pulling out, like I said, MBA, debt service, and public safety impact fees. So where that puts us is a proposed truth and taxation of 33.95%. That would fund everything that we've just thrown at you. So not too bad, considering we're getting quite a bit out of that. We're getting the new position, the deputy chief position, and the HR specialist, and all the other
No, we haven't shown them yet.
inflationary costs.
But that is not, and knowing that we did not get any tax raise last year. Our taxes actually went down a little bit last year.
Correct.
Right.
Just so that people know, this is not a double tax year
Correct.
situation. We didn't get anything last year.
Right. Yeah, great point. And that's something that's going to be a big challenge with just making sure we're communicating to the public. There was a lot of talk about raising taxes last year for the different projects, the gymnasium, everything else. But in reality, what happened, of course, was our tax rate actually went down last year a little bit. So as far as revenue goes, on the box there to the right, so that we're budgeting conservatively, 2% sales tax is what we've kind of seen as the trend for the last, 5 years, Marin? So we feel like that's probably appropriate to just continue to budget 2%. And then using more fund balance. We've also got some new revenue sources that are coming in, and thanks to Chief Erickson, the wildland fire. I don't know, Chief, you want to kind of talk about those two underlined items, the wildland fire revenue and the fire inspections?
It's actually surprising, and when I show these, and you'll see it on the the 2025 roll-up that I do next council meeting on the 19th, but it's interesting, just for a 2-week deployment, after we pay overtime and we pay the individual wages, we end up making about 35 grand.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it is, and they only allow, the system only allows you to go out 2 weeks at a time. Now, if we stayed 4 weeks, we can go send another crew to replace them, but yeah, to have, and we don't do we would actually make less money sending a brush truck. So we send a paramedic ambulance, and it's been very good for us.
And the guys make money and.
Yeah,
and
they
health
make money,
And the city.
and everybody's happy,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
So smart.
Because we end up getting about $78 an hour for a paramedic.
That's great.
And they work 16-hour days is what they get put down on, so.
And that's what you kept that
And
older
great.
ambulance for.
That's why we kept the older ambulance, that is correct.
So smart. And good experience for them too.
But we've had to take some money, our initial year, and not to just keep going on about this, sorry, but that initial year, we had to buy sleeping bags, and we had to buy some tents and stuff like that. So that's all factored in when I show you the slide. So we don't have any of those overhead costs anymore.
Right.
So, and then we use that money to buy a life pack for that air pack, because you have to have one, and life packs aren't cheap, as you well know. And then we just put a slide system in. We didn't buy the $63,000 auto loader system. We already had a gurney, and we spent $9 grand and just bought a load system in there. So in
So
case they had
smart.
the transport. So we saved a lot of money just doing that.
That's fantastic.
But it's paid for itself.
Yeah, it's great.
Those flowers without being caught.
No, we still are being recorded. But it's been good, thank you. And then we haven't been charged on that last one there. We haven't been charging inspection fees. Our inspection fee has been there. We haven't changed anything. It's been here since even before my time. So now we're just enforcing it, that's all. And that's based on how many businesses that we
Good.
inspect,
Good.
so.
That's normal.
Oh, yeah, totally.
We get charged in.
I'm just gonna throw this in there from a facility standpoint. I do really appreciate Chief and,
Sean.
coming through and doing these inspections of our own facilities, because it does make a difference for us, just having someone coming in and inspecting our own facilities regularly. So just a shout out to that. That's
Well, thank
that's a
you,
good thing.
because Sean has really, he's really helped out the past year and a half. You know, hiring him part-time, he knows what he's doing, he's a captain out of Hill, and he does a great job.
It's been very helpful for us.
Yeah, good. He's
Excellent.
usually an angry man half the time.
Next slide. So what does that do to us in terms of compared to other cities? We're currently, have been for many years, the third lowest tax rate in Davis County of the 15 cities. If this 33.95% increase were to go into effect, it would put us at the 8th of 15 cities between Syracuse and Centerville. And this is assuming that none of these other cities adjust, their rates. So we expect that a lot of cities are going to be adjusting their rates. So even with the 33.95%, we still may be lower than what it's showing right there. But just to kind of give you a little bit of reference to how we would be doing. And, all right, items being funded. This is, we talked about using about $1 million of fund balance. These are the major projects that we're talking about using fund balance for. We try to stick to one-time type projects because you can't rely on fund balance to fund ongoing things, obviously. And I might just turn it over to department heads to kind of talk about these different projects. So maybe starting with government buildings up in the upper left.
All right, so government buildings, the two items there, the fire department, we have a stucco issue on would be the southeast corner of the building, over there by the generator area. For a lot of years, we had issues with the roof and runoff. It would actually run down the wall. The stucco is actually starting to, well, it has been for a while, but that's repairing the stucco on that whole north or southeast corner of the building over in the generator area. Anticipating that once we tear that off, we may find some, potentially some more issues that we maybe aren't aware of. So we have fixed the roof. The roof up there now has a gutter, so it pulls the rain away from the actual side of the building. And then the HVAC replacement and upgrades, it's just a continual thing with just the size of our facilities is HVAC upgrades. I've got 2 units over in the recreation building. One of them, they're twinning off each other. One of the twins is not working. Unfortunately, this winter, we had a mild winter, so we didn't need the heat that it normally would pump out. So we have that. We have 1 unit at the fire station that we're watching, and then there's 1 more unit at the operations center. It's a RTU rooftop unit that is original to the building, so 1992. So it's so those are the 2 big items from government buildings. So.
Chief, you want to talk about the camera for the bay there?
Yeah, I didn't know it was gonna be on here. We were just gonna take it from our
Oh, that's right.
our building, so.
That's right. I forgot that.
I don't need to do any of that, yeah.
Perfect. So that
No,
might
it's
actually be
just
going away.
We don't have any cameras in our bays on the south side.
Oh, you don't?
No. So we're gonna put cameras on the south side, and then we do have quite a few accidents out in front of our building and stuff, so it'd be nice to have a camera out there. That's all.
Plus, don't you get like, sometimes people walking in there?
Oh, no, it's high school kids, it's awesome.
Them-
Yeah. We want them to be safe.
Yes, we do.
That's right.
Information systems, Ryan, you want to talk about those?
Yeah, so I'm proposing that we install or we renovate this AV system in this room. We have quite a few technical problems with the system. It's been problematic for several years, actually, since we installed the system. It was installed in 2021, and we just at the time that the city was built, or the city hall was renovated, and at the time they put in near end of life equipment, and so in order for us to fix some of the problems we're having, technical problems, it's going to require us to replace that back end equipment. So it's rather expensive, but we'd like to improve some things too. We want to drop the speakers so they're pendant mics. There's a lot of reverb in this space, and we have lots of complaints with audio. So
Perfect.
that's basically there.
So just a question, I know we spent a lot of money when we did this addition to put all this special audio and video equipment in this room.
Yeah.
We've already spent, is there no warranty, no nothing, no guarantee? I mean, we spend a ton of extra money. You had to spend a lot of extra money for this room.
So it's an interesting topic and discussion, but we actually went out to the vendor and we asked them to fix it. They did do some things. We did upgrade these mics here, so the mics we're using today. But there was some problems with these mics at the dais, and we replaced those. We need to. I lost the train of thought where I was going, but we did spend a lot of money. We actually went out to Pole Audio and had them reprogram this whole system because there was a lot of problems and problems with bugs in the system. And so they came in, they reprogrammed it. They spent 6 months doing it, and at the end, it really didn't fix it. And we told them that we weren't going to pay them for the work. And so we've put a lot of effort into trying to fix it. But the real fixes are hardware and having another vendor coming in and reprogramming it. So it's unfortunate the way that it was happening.
Brian, is that 115 the premier system, or is that just sort of an average system? Good, better, best?
This will just be an average system, yeah.
For 115,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 115. The cost of this equipment is going up all the time. Yeah, when we put it in, it was around 40,000. But they put in inferior equipment essentially, so.
And we can't go back at all? It's been too long?
No, we've made efforts to do that, but but it's not going to happen.
They put in what was the spec
Yeah.
in the project, so.
I thought we,
Yeah, I mean,
we
I
upgraded the
just-
spec.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
But we know you've done your research, I'm not disparaging
Yeah.
you, I'm just saying that's a frustrating situation.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. We've had
Yeah.
many council meetings. You guys don't see this because we fix it prior, but we're constantly having to reboot this system. And so pretty much every meeting, we're rebooting it in order for it to work. But we've had many meetings where it just doesn't work or it's problematic at the beginning and we have to come in and fix it. So it wasn't too long ago that we had a planning commission meeting where the meeting started and it just wasn't recording. And so they had to wait until I could get here.
Yeah, I know.
It was, 30 minutes later before they started the meeting. So I think we've seen over the last year or two that the system is continuing to degrade. And so there's some concern, whether or not we're going to continue to have more and more problems with it. So,
Okay.
so I think that this is probably like the highest estimate of cost, and I'm hoping to refine this as we get closer, as we get approval to
Will
move
this be
forward.
fixed this calendar year? Potentially, if you,
In 2027 calendar year, yeah.
2027.
We would fix it, right, yeah, we try to fix it, so.
okay.
No, she's saying before December.
Yeah, that's what she means.
That is
She
what
means
I-
before
that is-
December.
that is
She
what I
means
meant.
before December.
I realize this fiscal year starts in July, but this year, would it be fixed? This calendar year, 2022?
We would try to fix it, yeah, between,
okay.
yeah, we would start July,
Okay.
and then,
Thank you for the clarification,
Yeah.
everyone.
Perfect. Do you want to touch on the software upgrade for the fuel system?
so in conjunction with the fuel, the capital fund fuel island, the fleet department's asked that we upgrade their software for the fuel system. It currently integrates with our Elements software, which is the fleet's management software. And because the current Fuel Master software is really old, it's having a hard time interfacing with the management software. But this would improve, the overall management of the fuel system. So that's the request from Fleet.
Is that also because Citrix is going away too?
Citrix is going away too,
So
yeah.
doesn't Fuel Master live on Citrix?
Yes, it does, yeah. Yeah, so actually, yeah, we're in the process of getting rid of Citrix, so Citrix does have a cost, and that would, yeah, it wouldn't like replace the cost, but it would just be something we would remove from how we're running it, yeah. This software is all web-based, so we just run, on a web browser, essentially. We would have a back-end server where it all connects to, and but the guts of the pedestal would be updated in this, as a part of this, so, yeah. I think it's a good time to do it if we're gonna do, an upgrade to the fuel system. We're gonna do an upgrade to the fuel island, then we might as well just make an upgrade to the software and bring it up to a standard, so. You want me to move to the next one?
Yeah.
So the UPS battery backup for the police station, we've had a couple battery backups fail in the last year at the police station. We replaced those with batteries that we had in other buildings, and so we kind of scabbed together a fix. But these batteries were installed in 2018 when the building was put together, so they just need to be replaced.
Thanks, Frank.
What is a UPS battery backup?
So the police station currently has a generator,
Okay.
and the generator supplies power when the power goes out to the police station.
Yep.
And but the time that it takes the generator to kick on and the time between the power goes out, then that's what the battery backup protects. It protects those few minutes between the generator and the power going out, so.
Okay, thank you. No more questions.
Thanks, Ryan.
Apparently Seth is not part of this
Apparently
team.
no more questions.
Seth installed the audio-visual.
Oh,
That's what the audio-visual system looks like right now.
Please,
Thank you, Seth.
I was going to use this when it was my turn.
yeah.
Good demonstration.
Okay, yeah, no questions for police.
Correct.
Mission accomplished.
actually, Cole, do you want to talk about these ones? The parks?
Parks, Barnes Tower, in this current budget year, we got some money to do starting our tower upgrade, the concrete upgrades to our Barnes Tower. Barnes Park was built originally up in 1990, in the early 1990-91. With the tens of thousands of people, we have a lot of tripping hazard. We've got a lot of settling and movement in our concrete on the upper deck, which is what we call the tower up there at Barnes. So we did some things this year to alleviate some of our most concerning trip hazards, but we continually have just a lot of issues with uneven concrete, and with the tens of thousands of people who are out there weekly, it's an accident waiting to happen. So that request is just to continue to move forward with replacing some concrete tripping hazards. We thought the money we had this year would go a little bit farther than it did, but just the way the costs are, it didn't go quite as far as we were hoping. We knew that this was going to be a multi-year project anyways, and so that money would be for the Barnes Park Pavilion restroom shingles and rock replacement. The Barnes Park Pavilion is Pavilion 1. The restroom shingles are on the main restroom, the old restroom that was built in 1986. Just the asphalt's degraded. It's just in time for new shingles and new roof on those facilities. And then the rock replacement is at Pioneer Park Pavilion. Even though it's a new park, the rock was installed on the columns and the stuff around there is just falling off. And what we've learned is just the way that it was installed originally, even though it was installed by masons, and their labor warranty was only a year, and so there's no warranty. Of course. There was no warranty left on that. So the new masons that we've talked to give us some quotes, their recommendation is we pull all the rock off, take the existing mortar. It's a flat mortar and a flat rock, and just gluing it, sticking it back on isn't going to solve the long-term problem. So it's taking it off, tearing the existing mortar bed off, and then reattaching it new. So that's what that is. And then the water conservation is at the fire station. We had money this year that we're using to do some areas at the fire station on the back, kind of the employee parking lot area, removing grass that's not. It just doesn't make sense to have grass in certain areas anymore, and so what we're asking this year is that would be on the Main Street side to remove all the grass in the Park Strip and replace it with concrete. It's not rock, but it would actually be similar to exactly what you see out front here on this block. We just replace the mow strip, the Park Strip with concrete. That does take us getting a UDOT permit to do that, which we have to do later. So those are those three.
Water conservation.
It's water conservation. We're trying to eliminate grass where grass doesn't make sense. And the fire station is a great example where we'll keep it in certain areas, but there's certain areas of the fire station where it doesn't make sense, like grass around the flagpole.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense to have grass there. And so those are things that we're just eliminating grass where it just doesn't make sense anymore. And just going to some raw. We'll still have some planted material, like some shrubs and trees and stuff, but just eliminating turf grass.
Okay.
We did some projects out at Barnes Park this year. They're in a small area there on 200 North by the pretty football field. So.
Great. Thanks, Seth. Cool. Seth, hit the police stuff?
Oh, I'd love to. The vehicles, that's pretty normal to what we've done in the past. The issue we have right now is even with our older vehicles, some of them, we've had a lot of issues this year. This one detective vehicle in particular, we've put a motor and a transmission in it in the last, I don't know, some of them are kicking their butt. They're not lasting like they used to, just like anything they make anymore. So that just helps us kind of stay on track with replacing older vehicles, trying to get them out of the fleet because they're costing us so much between downtime and parts. Yeah, that'll just help us stay on track. The Emergency Operations Center, a lot of what Ryan just talked about with council chambers. We're having issues in our EOC. The thing with our EOC is it's become a big part of our operation. We have a lot of meetings. We have a lot of training. Like just the interdepartment training by itself, we train 2 to 4 times a month because of the shifts we work. But we try to record them. It doesn't work. You can pitch in whenever you want.
Yeah, some of the issues we're having with the EOC is that the floor boxes in the floor they're having water condense inside the box, and it's caused all the wiring in the floor to basically just be fried essentially, so it doesn't work. That same wiring is also in the wall, so what we need to do is we need to go in there and replace all the wiring. Mike Blackham suggested that we put vents on the top of those floor boxes, and I think that's going to work. We're gonna actually do that. That'll be a low cost fix for those floor boxes, so we don't have this problem in the future.
Can't you just buy the desk?
Yeah.
It doesn't fix the wire, but it does fix the
desk units that
condensate.
have
Yeah.
boxes to plug them in? Is that what you're talking about?
That would be a hint.
This,
I don't know.
all the equipment in the EOC, or in the EOC was installed in 2018 when the building was built.
It's 2014.
Was it 2014? Yeah, it hasn't been replaced since. It's the same time frame we had with the battery backup, so they were all kind of at the same time. But that system is, we've a couple years ago we had it reprogrammed, trying to make it better, but it's continuing to have problems. So there's a lot of things that don't work. We have speakers in the system, or mics in the ceiling that aren't functioning correctly, and they can't do remote meetings in that space anymore. They're having the same problem that we're having here at City Hall, where their DSP, their back-end equipment is it's out of date. We can't get parts for it, and anyway, it's almost, how old would that be? That would be over
2014.
2014, so that'd be 12 years old. Yeah. As far as electronics go, that's pretty good to get 12 years out of it, especially out of a system like this. So, this is what we're requesting to replace that AV equipment in the EOC.
One of the big things I would say about that is if we do have, like we run our end of the 4th of July out of there. If we had a major incident, that's where we would run it out of. None of us, including Ryan, are comfortable that we would be able to.
We wouldn't be able to run any kind of emergency out of that space currently the way it is. Yeah.
The mobile biometric scanners, I don't know, this year, there was a bill ran last year. This scanner is it's not to track people, but it's to fingerprint, like if we can't verify who somebody is, or there's certain citations we hand out, you roll a fingerprint. Last year, a bill got introduced and passed with a deadline of, I think it was this year. This year, they extended it into 27, but there's no fiscal note on this bill. But we will all be, every agency in the state will be required to have them in their patrol vehicles and use them. The only reason they pushed back they gave a little bit more time, had nothing to do with cities being able to fund it. It had to do with the CAD systems talking to the state. Right now, there's no way to export the fingerprint file to the state to get back information or to even log the information. So yeah, the state, that's a requirement by the state. The range shed, we've been working a lot with Bountiful, and they've agreed. Bountiful City PD has their own range, and they've agreed to let us, cities have their own sheds there to keep all their supplies in, so you're not transporting them all the time. And they've agreed to let us do it, let Kaysville keep a shed there with our own stuff in it and use it whenever we want.
Not sure what you guys did to make the legislature so mad, but all the 1,000 bills that got presented this year, 500 of them were public safety related. That's crazy.
It's, yeah. Yeah, it was a rough year.
They don't have anything else to do.
To say the least, it was a rough year for public safety.
I will say for the EOC, when it was built, it was specifically built to operate as the EOC. So if Kaysville did get a windstorm, a major earthquake or whatever, that building is built to withstand a much heavier earthquake, all that, much better than the fire station would ever do. And it was built at the time that would become our absolute headquarters for city council would go there, department heads would go there, all operations would go out of there. So it is pretty important to keep that as the EOC functioning. It's another one of those things that you hate to have, but you have to have it. And that building is specifically built for it. So
I will say this, when it was new, I ran a custodial abduction out of the EOC with the abduction response team, the county-wide team. It was phenomenal. They even commented on that when they left, like this room was perfect for what had happened over those 2 days. If that happened today, we could spread out throughout the building. It'd add one more factor to an already massive problem that's just.
I mean, it was built so that things could be kept in the closets.
Yes.
If there was a major incident, they would be able to be rolled out of the closets, put out, operations, logistics, everything could operate from the
Well, your number one thing that goes wrong in any after-action report is communication.
Yes.
And if we're not taking care of our communication, we're failing already.
Right.
Well, one thing I'd like to point out with the EOC is that when I was talking to a couple of these vendors, they said that if we're doing the EOC and the council chambers AV at the same time, then there will be cost savings there. So, because the programming will be very similar, the hardware will be similar, it'll just be easier to do overall. So,
That makes sense, Ryan.
yeah.
So again, these are all one-time fund, kind of using fund balance. For whatever consolation it might be, we really wrestled with some of these because they are expensive. And at the end of the day, just like it's been discussed, we feel like these are things that are needed, and we want to stay ahead of the maintenance curve and not just continue to defer every single item. Even though we have a lot of items later on, we're going to show you that we are deferring. We know we need to stay up on some of these, and they're only going to get more expensive if we don't try to take care of some of these things. So, yep, operations overview, thanks. Deferred, all right, so here's where we get into some things that were operational. Well, this is, Cole, do you want to talk about this?
We're not doing Christmas lights?
No, we're banning.
Cool.
Baby Jesus took the big thing.
Cool.
No. So this was we have our baseline that we currently have. This was increasing our baseline to expand, make it look a little bit better. So.
And Jason said no.
Yeah.
Jason's.
Well, I'm telling
You don't
you,
like Christmas?
Finally.
Oh my gosh.
Look at Mike. Mike's like, cut it.
finally we said no to something.
Oh my gosh.
So we will still do what we currently have been doing. That doesn't change.
Okay.
The increase was to do a few more trees, a few more.
Dear families.
Yeah, our dear
Oh, dear
families. Our
families.
deer families are toast.
Well, they do blow over.
They live their life. Yeah, we used to be able to do a lot of this in-house, we just don't have the staff to spend 2 months hanging Christmas lights. So all this is contracted, which in a sense makes a lot of sense because
Yeah, they take it down.
they take it down, they store the lights, we have to do all that stuff. So the 18,000 was an increase of our current budget, so this just goes back to our current budget. So
Okay.
we won't improve anything, it would just remain the status quo.
Okay,
So we will still do Christmas holiday lighting.
as long as they're white.
We thought the white turned out really good last year, so we're going to keep that, so.
Thanks. Ryan, you want to touch on these?
Yeah, so currently we use OnBase for our document management system. It's pretty much used across the board for the city. Everybody knows about the big push for AI, and you've all used ChatGPT and whatnot, but and know how easy it is to find things with some of those AI tools. This was just a request that we made to integrate OnBase with some AI to make searching documents and all kinds of documents. Make searching documents easier, to provide easier information that's specific to our OnBase application. So it's obvious it's not going to happen this year, but I think that the usefulness of AI is going to continue to increase, and we're going to find it more useful to have these kind of things. So we'll look forward to having this in the future sometime. For support for door and camera systems, we were requesting a contract with our access control company that we use to kind of help us optimize our camera system. And right now we have basically 4 servers that work together to record and manage our cameras essentially, and that's it needs some help beyond my expertise. So we were hoping to get some money to kind of help facilitate that optimization, they also do support for the door access, and there's some optimization that we can do there to kind of help with management of users and doors and whatnot. So, yeah, that's what we were going to try to do there.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. Next slide. So this is kind of a summary of the new changes or the new items. Most of these that we've talked about. I don't know that we've talked about the ADA compliance yet, did we?
We have not.
You want to touch on that 17,000?
Yeah, so in 2024, the Justice Department, under Title II of the ADA, required cities, states, and other governments to meet the WCAG 2.1 level accessibility standards. That, I don't understand the acronyms and the mumbo jumbo behind that, but this is a request from the legal department so that we can update our website to meet ADA compliance, essentially. Basically what this is a suite of software that looks on our website, it evaluates it for ADA compliance, it makes the updates to those pieces, and it publishes those pieces so we meet ADA compliance. But some of the things that we need to address on the website are all documents, all forms, all images, all videos, pretty much everything on the website. So, yeah.
Brian, what does that mean, ADA compliance? What is that?
So,
Just be able to enhance hearing or braille or?
it's mostly related to for example, on every picture in a website, there's
Description of it?
a line that you put in that describes what that picture is, right?
Okay.
It's more than that, but but PDF documents, everything have to have that reader ability, yeah. So I'm not exactly sure what it all entails. Yeah, so it's obviously a concern for legal because they've reached out to Jason and me to try to figure out what we need to do to bring our website up to compliance. So they obviously see it as a liability.
This is a state law.
It is,
Federal
it's a
law.
federal law, it's DOJ. Yeah.
Yeah, another one of those expensive things that just have to do it, unfortunately, unfortunately, but it is expensive. The download speeds, you want to talk really quickly?
So, and maybe this is something Seth can chime in on, but currently Kim is running into lots of issues at the police station. The police department, they have a video system, the dash cam and the body cam system. Essentially what it does is it brings video in from the vehicles and it pushes it to the cloud. It also takes body cam video and pushes it to the cloud. That video is 4K, so it's very slow in uploading. But the biggest problems are with redaction. So Kimberly over there, when she's been requested video, she has to go in and redact it. It can be hours and hours and hours and hours of 4K video that she's having to redact. And so her process is she has to download it from the cloud because that's where it's stored. Download it from the cloud, she does the redaction and then uploads it. And our 1 gig connection, is slow for that kind of process. And so the police department is requesting that we update our connection to 10 gig. We are set up for 10 gig. Our firewalls are set up for 10 gig. Our core switches are set up for 10 gig. And you'll see in a later slide that we're requesting that we're going to replace the PD switches, and so those PD switches will be capable of 10 gig. And so what the police department's asking for is to update our internet connection service from 1 gig to 10 gig. This represents the cost plus some hardware for the addition of that service. So yeah. I think roughly we spend about $1,100 a month on 1 gig service, and to add 10 gig, it's going to be another $500. So
Reoccurring.
So there, what's that?
Reoccurring, right? Not one time. This is
Reoccurring, every month. Yep.
How many hours, Seth, are the guys sometimes spending just uploading their body cam stuff?
That's what I was just gonna say. So we have some vehicles have taken, so typical shift is 12 hours in patrol. We've had vehicles sit and have to run while they're doing this. We've had one sit for 8, almost 9 hours, and still didn't clear the whole hard drive or storage. Kimberly's had cases that have taken days. So almost every case, we do a lot of our calls in pairs now for safety. And just for instance, in a vehicle, there's 4 cameras. Front, back, inside the vehicle, plus the body.
And they're all 4K.
And they're all 4K. Where it's impacting us is our grammar requests have gone up. Getting a case to the prosecutor's office, that's probably our biggest one because we have, depending on the case, we have time limits and when it has to be there, how fast it has to be there. Excuse me, or they'll release our suspect. So for us, we looked at it a couple of ways. Our vehicles are wearing out. Runtime's really hard on them. Plus just the downtime. I was talking to a newer officer the other day, and when I got to the office and when I was leaving at the end of the day, he was parked in the same place. So I picked on him, and he didn't know how to take it because he was leaving. He could only leave to go to a call and come back to the office because he had so much stored in his vehicle that in his free time, instead of being out driving around or doing traffic or just being seen, he couldn't do it. He had to sit at the office and let his vehicle run while it sucked the information out of his car. Kimberly's even tried, when she downloads them to redact them, she'll leave it running when she leaves at night and come back in the morning, and sometimes it's done,
It's just not
sometimes it's
saved
not.
on a disc or a
Discs
drive
is
or-
a thing that
not
pass.
not a disc, like a drive or a.
Everything's on the cloud now,
Yeah.
Oh.
and the 4K thing's a big deal. The redaction part itself is, the whole thing's been, technology's great until it's not. It's just been very hard to
So,
work
Ryan,
through.
dumb question, instead of going to the cloud, can it just go to their own specific server for this and make it fast?
Yeah, so previously we had a system that was dumping it to our own storage locally, and that was working well. It was 1080p, so it was 1/4 of the actual size of what we're doing. But Motorola bought out WatchGuard, and Motorola made a change that only allows cloud-hosted video, and almost all the vendors are moving to cloud-hosted type services. So there isn't an option for local storage for video anymore, and that's pretty much. I mean, when you talk about anything, everything's going to the cloud, and this is one of those things. So.
When we were looking at different vendors for body camera and in-car camera, the top 4 or maybe even 5 companies that do it, they were all forced into subscription, and they were all forced into cloud storage when we looked at all of them.
Yeah. There is some advantages to cloud storage. It's obviously less work for the police department or IT, but because we don't have to manage the updates on the servers or, manage the security profiles there. But there's other problems that we're running into. So one thing I will say about the 10 gig internet connection is, while it benefits the police department greatly, it's across the board, so it actually benefits every single connection in the city. So operations, admin, fire department, cemetery, everybody would get access to a 10 gig connection. So it would benefit our backups that go to Richfield. And while this is a police department request, it does have wide-reaching benefits to the city.
Thank you.
And just, and obviously, as you know, I know very little about IT technology, but I thought the whole part of the fiber was going to make the speed so fast that you could never overrun that fiber.
Yeah, the reason why we can get 10 gig is because we have fiber.
Okay.
So if we were on like a DSL or a cable modem or whatever, we wouldn't have the option for 10 gig.
Okay.
So that is the benefit of fiber.
Great, thanks. The last one there, 10,000 for PR services. So we felt that we can do a better job with communications to residents. It's something that we've been wanting to do more and more of. A lot of cities you'll see they actually have a full-time public information officer or even a department that, just devoted towards communications, rolling out video content and all kinds of information for social media. And right now we don't really have anything that's kind of other duties as assigned for Anne Marie to do newsletter and where other people might have a little bit of time here and there. But we have a contracted LinkedIn group, as some of you know, to do a little bit on call when we have a need, a project that we want to prepare some content for. They're there, so that's going to cost a little bit. Just as an example, yesterday I met with LinkedIn, and we're working with the Catalyst Center, the Davis School District Catalyst Center. That's where they're teaching high school students like career type of skills where they graduate with a certificate or college credits towards different things. And one of those areas is video production. And so they have agreed to, for free, put together a video series for the city. So it'll spotlight different departments. We can put these 1-minute videos out, spotlighting fire, police, water department. And I think it's going to be really cool. So we're excited about that. But that's an area where, maybe we can run it by Langdon Group and say, hey, help us write a storyboard, or, give us some guidelines on some good content that residents would find interesting and informative. So that's what that's about. I'll put a blurb on that in the city manager report as well. Under the efficiencies, we've already talked about most of these. So where you saw under the road fund, we saw an increase. We're seeing a savings on operations, because we're just transferring those costs now over into the road fund. Likewise, down there at the bottom, transfers from general fund to MBA and debt service. You saw that we were seeing an increase in those funds. That's because we're using fund balance, and we're actually seeing a savings now in the general fund side of it. So that's where that savings is coming from. And then non-election year, so savings there on election costs. Next slide. So just a couple more slides and we're done. Capital. All right, so these are the deferred items we talked about. And I'll try to just run them really quick unless people want to jump in. But scissor lift. We can rent that, right, Cole? And so we're going to not do that. Refinish the bay floors. It's been 25 years, whatever, Chief? 26 years. So that's going to be needed, but going to kick that at least another year. We budgeted $1.5 million to do some fire station expansion. Especially should we defer for a long time the West Side Fire Station. So obviously, considering that the West Side Fire Station is being looked at and for a bond issue or a general obligation ballot issue, we're going to hold on this until we know what's going on with the fire station. Under community development, so we've kicked several things down the road here. We've talked about a comprehensive code update. Our codes are just really in need of an overhaul and update. We're trying to just do those a little bit at a time, but I think until we actually get somebody to come in and just do an overhaul with us, it's going to take a long time to get those updated. But we're going to kick that one for a little bit more. The 5-year five-year general plan update. So this is one that I know the council might have some input on. Our current general plan was updated or adopted in 2022, so we're now going on 4 years. It's a major project to do that. It's $150,000, and like I said, every one of these things we've kind of wrestled on, like, should we? I mean, some of those items that you saw put in for fund balance use, we kind of had in, then we had out and in. Same thing with some of these, where it's just, I know that we'd like to do it, but we thought, well, let's just maybe kick this 1 year and do general plan update next year. But that's, again, for discussion for council, if how you feel about that. Again, 2022 was when our current plan was last adopted. And then the BLP&Z, that's business license and planning and zoning study, just kind of figuring out, are we charging the right fees? And rather than outsource that, we think we can do that study in-house. Under parks, we've got a couple of mowers, and a mower and a sprayer that are in need of replacement or addition to the fleet. On the sprayer is an additional sprayer, right, Cole? But we thought, let's see if we can push off on that one. Capital projects down here in the bottom left. Trappers, so there's no way we've got $3.8 million to do with trappers right now, but hopefully we can continue to save up for that and do that. That's the project over by the do-it-yourself skate park into 200 North. And then the 950 North improvements, do you want to talk about what that entails, Cole?
Well, that was just the streetscape there as you exit the West Davis corridor there at 950 North. Just improving the streetscape along 950 North up to Quail Crossing Park and then down Sunset until you hit the creek. So that's what that money was just, improvements, betterments on the streetscape. So.
And that's not part of the money we already got from UDOT?
No, that the WDC money can't be used for this because it's not part of the West Davis Corridor Trail. So.
we've done some planning, or are doing some planning right now, right, with
Yep.
the
We'll have
landscape
a plan,
design?
and so when we do have funding available, we'll have a plan we can execute off of, so.
These are all tough ones, because this is one I know that when we were doing our strategic planning meetings last year, some of the council voiced an interest in, like, let's do more to really enhance the city so it looks nice, and like that included enhancing some of our entrances. So coming off of West Davis onto 950, that's one of those areas that we'd love to make look nice, add some trees and things, but again, it's an expense, and we thought, all right, maybe this is one we kick down the road one more year and see if we can save up a little bit. I know we don't have the bandwidth probably to do everything, but anyway, all these are up for discussion, input, if the council has strong feelings. Under the police, that parking lot gate has been broken for forever, pretty much. A couple of years.
Yeah,
That amounts only to do one side.
correct.
One side.
That's just to do the south side.
So it's just a security thing, but it's one of those things that we've kind of kicked down the road. Same with the drone, kicked down the road. Do you want to talk about what the drone's for so people understand?
Yeah, so the drone,
Yeah.
I can't remember there's an acronym for what they call it now, but it's great that we can, like, we've been able to call on Josh, and we've been able to call on Fire Chief and his people to come out. But one of the biggest things we are missing there is timing, how fast we respond to this. Agencies that are using them, they're making sure, most of them that are operating them now have drones on every shift. And the significance of that is speed, because time is our biggest friend and our worst enemy. When we looked into it, there's an aspect we can't get from the help we get, is there's interior drones that they're starting to use for not only officer or fire safety, but the safety of the people in the house. Interior drones they can be tactical or not, but there's drones specific that fly through a building. If they get knocked down, they have the capability of blowing themselves around and picking themselves back up. It's become a huge part of public safety.
Great for searching for lost.
Yeah, and that's where the timing thing comes in, is the searching for whether it's a lost elderly person at Apple Tree to our guy that walked away up on the top of Crestwood.
You're probably one of the few departments around that don't have a drone.
We're the only one in the county that doesn't have a drone program
Makes sense.
right now.
But we don't need insurance. Get a drone.
Yeah.
Can I speak to the council?
I was in a conference in Denver in October, and I went to a drone. They were talking about the significance of a helicopter and a drone, and like just the different use for all of them. And there was probably 100 people in the room when they asked who doesn't have a drone program. I was the only one to raise their hand. But it's just because it's become such a big part of public safety. So,
I kind of think you need a drone.
I like to be different. I like to be the person
Yes, you do. That's why I love you.
that raises their hand. But
You're like, sometimes I drone on.
yes.
All right.
I mean,
and
you've
then-
been complaining that I wasn't talking, so
You are
Who was
Sorry.
complaining about that?
I was.
So, yeah, I feel like
I'm gonna
We're at
remember that. I'm gonna
11:19.
remember that, Abigail.
so never to kind of try to wrap this up. I know everyone's kind of tired out and been a long morning. But yeah, we're also deferring the alignment system. There's a system that would help us just do more in-house, preventative maintenance and alignments. But we're going to kick that one down the road. The Arctic Wolf software we talked about, that's just kind of cybersecurity type stuff, and we think there's a state system that will kind of maybe help us do some of that this would have done, so we're going to try that, right, in a nutshell. Major capital requests. So here's where we get into
Some of these are
requests.
duplicates, right? Because
Yeah.
they were funded by fund balance, but,
So the total is duplicated, or there's
Some of it-
duplicates in the total?
yes, yeah. So,
Yeah.
like the Barnes Tower concrete bleacher, that's funded by fund balance, but it's still a capital
Okay.
item.
Yeah, did we talk about the mower, the brush mower? Do you want
Not talking about
to chat on that? Talk about that?
So this is a mower that we currently don't have. We have a lot, we have a lot more increasing in weed lots. We've always had weed lots, but we've currently been using some of our old just rider turf mowers, but it really is getting to the point that it just doesn't work. The mowers get beat up so bad. And so this mower is just especially designed just for non-manicured turf, like just brush mowing with the on and off ramps for West Davis, I-15, things like that they're just trying to be using some makeshift. That's what that is. And the utility cart replacement is just, we have a utility cart at Barnes Park that's, we're leaking oil into the engine, and we hope that we can get it to July, but it's just a replacement. The utility cart's a replacement for an existing cart out there that we use for all of our ball fields, and just throughout the park, at Barnes Park. So the other two I've already talked about. So
Perfect. Under fire, I know we talked about the cameras already, the deputy fire chief vehicle. Anything you want to say to that, chief?
I have a question on that. Does it have to be a specialized vehicle? Can't we just pay towards someone's vehicle?
No, because they got to respond with it.
I don't have all the lights inside.
Oh,
It's a
okay, that's what I
response
mean. Does it have to be, is it special?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Prius
didn't
is
know.
gonna work.
I didn't know. What?
Just a little Prius.
Yeah, I was just thinking something.
Yeah, because
Something
I
non-smart,
just
maybe
read
red.
that they're the best for clearing intersections. Yeah, I read that.
Have you seen those little lights
Just
on
chat
that video?
GPT.
Like the old days?
Yeah, like Barney Fife. Barney Fife with the stick
Don't make it
figures.
good on you. Don't let them pick
It
on you.
wasn't a big deal.
Excuse me.
Don't let them pick on you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for sticking around.
Thank you, everybody. So that's it. Everything else we've talked about already on this list. So next slide. That's our presentation for today. So any questions? We're going to send out these slides as well, and you know you'll have more to digest here. But we're happy to meet one-on-one or bring up questions in the next meeting. Is there a feeling that we need to have follow-up discussions and schedule another workshop on the items we've talked about, or we could talk about those in council meeting as well if you want?
Anne Marie just texted me and she said she forgot to hit record. Is it okay if we do the whole thing again?
Okay, everybody, take a break. We're going to redo.
Jason,
Take two.
I appreciate everything you guys have done. I think this is fantastic. We looked at a significant raise last year, which did make us sick, but we had some good justifications for it. And to not be able to have to replicate that plus an additional huge is so helpful. So thank you for looking at it in a creative way, because we already know what we've done, and it's not something that we ever want to do, but we had some good reasons for the gym and stuff. And Mike has what?
I just have one question, and it's just from going through and listening and seeing everybody and all that, is I feel like there is one position that I would love to see maybe come in as part-time started. I know I'm not one that likes to add employees, I really don't. But I think that police secretary over there that has to do all that camera work and redaction and stuff to get that stuff ready for our attorneys on Monday, I guess then they go through all the cases. I would rather than hit us up with a full-time employee, is there any way that maybe we can work something that, because she appears of seeing everybody. If she's sick or something or has no backup whatsoever, I don't know how the cases would move forward, but she spends, like I said, she'll spend 4 days redacting a case off of a 2-hour call that there are 4 officers with 4 cameras there, and she gets a Grandma Act for it, so she has to get all that. Does that make sense to you, Seth? Talk to you, Chief, and I'd love to see something like that, because I see it coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we try to do it with maybe, let's say 15 hours a week or something to start with, 10 hours a week, and see how it goes, if it helps?
Yeah, anything will help at this point.
Because out of everything that we went through and saw, I kind of felt like she was the one who was
What about
getting
two
dumped
part-time
on
people?
the
Then you
most.
don't have to pay benefits and stuff.
That's why I say, start out part-time,
Well, I'm
strictly.
just saying two part-time, then you have someone to offset, if you have vacation or sick, instead of one full-time.
Oh, I don't,
It's less-
yeah, that's
it's
why I
less
want
of a loaded
part-time.
rate.
That's why I'm suggesting
saying
part.
two.
I'm saying two people.
Oh, you're saying two part-time?
Two part-time instead of one full-time, because it's still cheaper than having to pay. a
Yeah, but
loaded rate
let's
for
start
the
out
two.
with just the one part-time and see what it helps her with. See how much that helps her.
Yeah, I think any help is great, because to your point, if she calls in sick, Cindy can do some of it, but then in turn, if Kimberly's gone, Cindy also has to run everything else at the same time. She'll man the front, all of our foot
That's
traffic.
my
walk-in
point.
foot- Yeah, so,
It
yeah,
would
any
be
help.
completely up to her
Yeah, any
how
help is great.
she
Yeah.
distributes those out, but at least maybe let's look at, let's just, let's say a 10, 15 hour a week, part-time person, help her get through her day.
Yeah, that'd be great.
If we do that HR position Jason was talking about, part-time, it's only 29,000. So I would assume his police would be similar.
That would be a huge bang for the buck.
Would you be okay if I built in two or just one?
I think just start one. Let's just
Okay.
start one and see how, and then if she says, this has been a great help,
We need to go full-time.
Great.
But then we have to
maybe-
wait till the next budget year to add someone else, right? Because we don't like to do it midterm.
I mean, we can always do
We can do a
amendments.
budget amendment, but I know we don't like
it
to
just
do
seemed
that.
like there was a huge need for
The
it.
budget amendments are normal. I know that you guys don't like it, but technically, transparency and all of that, like, it's normal for them to come more often than we have been doing in the
But
past.
if it's a, if it's
So
a
it's not
scheduled
something that needs to be
part-time,
afraid of.
offered as a part-time job for so many hours a week, there's probably a lot of people around here that would be interested in it, and
Part-time is very lucrative.
it's how you worked into your court request for your full-time. I mean, originally, that was only a 10-hour-a-week job, then it became a 20, your secretary.
Yeah.
And then a 30, and now it's become full. But it's taken 10 or so years to get to that point. That's good. That's good to see how that works.
Yeah, it's, plus part-time, I mean, just on our job alone, now it was part-time with benefits, 30 hours a week, but we had 115 applicants the first 3 days.
For part-time.
Yeah. Part-time is very lucrative here.
For moms.
I have not had a part-time applicant in 8 years.
For full-time jobs?
No, for part-time.
Oh, for part-time.
So,
Have you posted?
Yes.
Have the chief do one and send it
Yeah, we are a public board.
Yeah, here, I'll post one, man, and then we'll just send it.
so
Fire assistant, oh, now you're public works.
something I do want to
Technically, you are the deputy chief right now.
Yeah, touche.
Something I do want to, while we have all the department heads here, that I do want to ask you to think about with employees, especially when you ask for new employees, or even with the ones you have. I've been thinking recently that there's an option maybe if you feel like somebody can take on more responsibility to pay them more money for that versus hiring a new person. And I hope that that's always an like an option that you can ponder that we would accept readily. I just try and think of are there ways that we can fulfill what our department heads need, but also not have to incur the cost of an entire employee. And sometimes I think thinking out of the side of the box of okay, I've got these 4 people, I could really use a 5th. Or I could ask the 4 people, hey, are you willing to take on a little bit more responsibility? And I'm gonna give each of you 10 grand more a year for doing that. That's 40 grand on the budget, but it doesn't cost, where it normally would have cost us 100 to hire that employee. And so I know that you probably are already doing that, and you may already say, oh yeah, my people are stretched too thin, but I just think that that's so much more palatable or also an idea to, and I think people would probably welcome the idea and probably would make them feel pretty excited to get a little bit extra money to you know, and incentivize them to do a little bit extra. So
I don't
just kind of
disagree at all, but keep in mind, throwing money at it is a short-term fix. Just don't forget about that.
Well,
It's not a long-term, that shouldn't be your long-term plan because it doesn't work.
for an employee, right? But sometimes I think that, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but sometimes I think you hire another person and then maybe you're observing throughout the year and you're like, boy, it kind of seems like they don't have a ton to do all the time or whatever. And so, yeah, from a short term, I think it is short term, but like to Mike's point with this, you know, rather than jumping straight to hiring a second person to review the videos, you could start with part-time. Well, another option would be if there's somebody in the office, I'm guessing there isn't, but if there was somebody in the office who seems like, oh man, they kind of, seems like they're sitting around, like I definitely need them, but I can see that they could use, like, be like, okay, hey, so-and-so, if we paid you an extra 10 grand, would you start reviewing the videos also, you know? And you're like, they're like, heck yeah, so versus if you said to them, hey, we want you to start reviewing videos as part of your job description, they're going to be like, what the, I'm already, you know? So that's the type of stuff
I think that would be incredibly helpful in specific situations to be able to maximize efficiencies where currently, like, there is this blurb in a lot of job descriptions of other duties as assigned, but it's like, whoa, man, that is a big friggin' stretch to have this position also pick up this random thing. And I think a lot of departments are probably in the same boat. You know, if we could find the ability to do that, I've got about half of my department that's at the max of their scale. So even if there was a way to navigate that a little bit, I think it's probably not going to solve every situation, but it is, we're working with council, as we're interacting with the community. If we can show, hey, when a budget request is coming, it's coming after we have exhausted
all these other efforts.
The other opportunities, so.
Yeah. So just something to keep in mind. I think it's obviously a lot more palatable to me to you know, when it's an employee, it comes with all of the compounding elements versus when it's extra money, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's totally worth it, right? You need the help and it's a Band-Aid maybe, but also maybe it's just something to think about.
Added incentive, right?
Sometimes you do, yeah. Or you need a transition.
Include health insurance for the council. So maybe if you take health insurance, you should add a little bit, 10 hours over the police station.
Something.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Want to see it out?
What are you saying?
I'm just saying silly. I don't know, whatever you guys think. I'm thinking if we could take that 140 for council insurance that was included, maybe we could fund some of these other things that, like drones. I think the police department should have drones.
I think they should have drones.
I really do.
think so too.
I think they should have drones, and I'm okay not getting insurance, but I don't know how everyone else thinks as council, but I think we should think about that.
Anymore, you can buy a fairly inexpensive drone that has infrared on them and picture taking and night vision and all that crap, which is stuff they would use. And they're not that expensive. You know.
Well, these guys want the ones that can carry your body.
Those ones are expensive.
Oh, no?
We don't want those.
You don't want spaceports?
No.
I'm just saying, I think you should, I think that's an essential thing
Yeah.
for your department and essential tool to have, so.
They have certain requirements though that you have to remember. I mean, we got our drone
You
a
can't just
handful
buy
of
them
years
with Best
ago
Buy.
and ours were 10 grand
Yeah,
for one drone. So their drone, I'd imagine, is in that 15 to 20 range.
Yeah.
Does it have tasers on it?
Well, they couldn't get those anyway.
We can
So
right now.
there's a scary, like, Chinese accent voice where you can talk to people.
That's the spot with DJI with us right now.
Instead of
Yeah,
Which
that's
is funny
and it's
because
like on the
they're
ground.
worried about critical infrastructure,
yeah.
No,
but
does it do that?
he can use it. he's gonna fly the critical infrastructure way before we,
You just
I
have to-
will say this, most agencies are still, they're using DJI anyway.
Yeah, there's training that goes along with it too.
Yeah.
Well, you got to
We
get your
purchased our
license.
drone 2-3 years ago, and it came with a classroom opportunity, so me, one of the GIS guys, firefighter, went and attended.
And one of the things the Catalyst School does have, they
Drone
have a
program.
drone program. And they're more than
Outstanding.
willing to work with cities to help their students get along, and they can help you too.
And we send we have one officer that he proposed this. We send him to a training every year, even though we don't have the program, so that he is up to date. If we have these guys come out, what law enforcement, if there is restrictions, he's aware before we just let people.
He's been going to driver's ed just in case that vehicle comes along.
You have one, don't you?
Yeah.
And see, it makes no sense for you to send a guy that is on duty
Yes,
to go do a thing for the police.
Last time,
Yeah, Farmington Fire has a pretty good drone program. We talked
They
about
do.
that too.
They do.
When we had this missing persons,
yeah. that would-
fire sent a guy with a drone, we went up with our drone, and there was a delay, obviously, from when the need was there to when we got there, and we were limited in what we could do with our drone. It doesn't have all the same capabilities, but
They use them for accident investigations.
Well, we learned that batteries were important because it was kind of a warm day and we went
Yeah.
through batteries like you would, so we bought a few
burn through
more.
them like crazy. But like Department of Public Safety, as well as UDOT, like all of the UDOT incident response vehicles, those are all licensed drone operators, and when there's an accident, they fly that with LiDAR, and they take a 3D model of that site immediately. And I mean, it's amazing. what you
We
can
like
do.
it because we get to fire the media if they want to fly their drones, but you can't stop them. But as soon as our drone goes up, theirs has to go down. So we fly it just for that too.
Anyway, something to think about. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you, everybody, for all the work and
So do you
effort.
want me to put the drone in the budget?
Sounds like
I say yes.
yes.
I say yes, but
Yeah.
And talk mosquito abatement, they just bought a new one that does all their surveillance. And they've got a lot of experience.
Everyone except for.
do you need sort of a roll call vote for that, or are we good?
I think this is good. I mean, we'll present,
We'll keep talking
more
about this.
information, and then there'll be an ultimate,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
But this has been great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you especially Marina Parker for all the, this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg of what you're seeing and all the work that they did behind the scenes to vet so many things and think outside of the box, so
Anne-Marie,
thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you for
everything.
Thank you, Anne. Yeah, great. I didn't think that we could go better than last night with the sewer district, but I think
Yeah,
you just,
I mean, yeah, you talked
you
to
delivered, so.
Fidget spinners are amazing.
the grapes and cheese.
So I think we're good to not have a meeting later this month. We had, so the next budget work session would be then on Friday, April 17th at 9 o'clock.
Okay,
What do you?
okay,
Great.
that's good, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You missed it. Yeah, fair.
I'm a hell of a guy.
I missed.